Rampersad, Chair of the National Commission for UNESCO, and distinguished directors of the Commission of UNESCO, many of whom are here this morning with us. Dr. Abel Siong Chan, Deputy Chair of UNESCO, that's the Trinidad and Tobago National Commission, and of course our Secretary General, Ms. Susan Shirley. Our guest from Jamaica, you all call her Hema, so I'll pronounce it Himal Chuli Gurung, yes, UNESCO Cultural Program Specialist from the UNESCO Office for the Caribbean in Jamaica. Mrs. Ingrid Ryan Ruben, Director of Culture, Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism. All UNESCO staff members, I understand there are a number of special invitees here this morning from different organizations and associations. Welcome, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. A very pleasant good morning to all, and I thought that it was important for me in my busy schedule to be here with you this morning, because I consider it a very important event. And so I feel very honored in my capacity as President of the National Commission for UNESCO to welcome all of you to this National Stakeholder Consultation on the UNESCO's Cultural Heritage Conventions. Your discussions this morning would be critically important, for they will hopefully achieve a way forward for this very important body that we are all part of. Important for the promotion and preservation of the individual cultural traditions and wider heritage of our countries. These are significantly necessary for our own national preservation in a world increasingly drawn together by globalization, where tolerance and understanding of people and their varying traditions are our only hope for peace. In a demonstration of our commitment to these fundamental tenets of UNESCO, and indeed democracy and world harmony, the People's Partnership Government, in which I proudly serve, signed 3 conventions 1 month after taking office in June 10th, and I saw Hema had a slide of it this morning in her presentation. The Convention on the Diversity of Cultural Expressions 2005, the Convention on Intangible Cultural Heritage 2003, and the Convention on Underwater Cultural Heritage 2001. In addition to this, a decade ago, Trinidad and Tobago signed the Convention on World Natural and Cultural Sites 1972. And this year, following our representation and attendance at the UNESCO's General Assembly, I believe it's the first time a minister attended a UNESCO General Assembly. That's when I attended. I'm informed, among other benefits, 3 sites were admitted to the tentative list. We also coordinated Caribbean support for election of Barbados as chair of the World Heritage Committee, Ms. Alexandra Cummings. And Trinidad and Tobago has been very instrumental in UNESCO over the last 2.5 years to have a number of Caribbean citizens on some of the world committees of UNESCO. I believe we supported Susan, we supported Barbados again in another one of the President's Council, a member of the President's Council, and that we had to establish, I had to lead the way for the Caribbean to be part of that when we had the Latin American countries to deal with. And I was able to influence a number of Latin American countries to vote for Barbados at that meeting, where the GRULAC group were assembled to put forward 2 candidates. I remember that distinctly last year. I'm also informed that much preparatory work needs to be done for these sites to meet UNESCO standards to be admitted on the World Heritage Sites. When Cabinet appointed a new board for 2011 to 2014, as President, I mandated that the Commission look towards moving the national community towards implementing these conventions. So the purpose of this consultation, I understand from what has just been presented, is to gather a multi-sectoral group of relevant stakeholders, who a lot of you are present this morning, to present the UNESCO Culture Conventions signed and to discuss the way forward. The outcome would be to strengthen Trinidad and Tobago's capacity for the effective implementation of the UNESCO's Culture Conventions. I just saw a document where a number of countries have representations on the World Cultural Heritage Sites and so on. And I was looking for Trinidad and Tobago, and I think I saw a blank on it. And that is not acceptable when we have so much to express to the rest of the world. So I believe that we have been sleeping on the way for many years in the past, and it's time to be rejuvenated and to come forward with some activity. And where we speak, we must show that our work demonstrates that we are really serious about what we are doing. So it's useless having all these conventions and have all these meetings together when we cannot get one area from Trinidad and Tobago represented on that atlas that we have before us and you have before you. There have been several requests from several organizations and stakeholders on what is needed to be done to get on UNESCO's international list. But we will all agree that we must first focus on development at a national level before attempting it at a wider level, so as to guarantee long-term success. Today's meeting of you, our key decision makers in this process, is to determine the best way we can fulfill these responsibilities. And Mrs. Ingrid Ryan Ruben, the Director of Culture, who sits on the National Commission for UNESCO and chairs the Culture Committee and has been a member of the previous commission, gave an interview of what has been done to date and the state of readiness of the national infrastructure. We also invited Hema, a program specialist from the regional UNESCO Kingston Cluster Office, who has been working for the last 4 years, my understanding, in building capacity in the region and has tremendous field experience in the Asia Pacific and other regions as well, to share her ideas with us. Welcome, Hema. Welcome. I understand that yesterday you visited Tobago and spoke to stakeholders there with particular focus on the underwater cultural heritage. And I understand it's not protected as readily, and therefore we need a lot of work to be done in the protection of the underwater cultural heritage in Tobago. And tomorrow I understand you will be visiting other potential sites that can make the international UNESCO heritage list. So we look forward to you working with our team in Trinidad so we can have incorporated a number of our sites on the UNESCO's list. Just last night we were speaking about the Banwari site in South Trinidad. There are artifacts that are more than 6,000 years old. Why do we not have that as one of the tangible cultural heritage sites? So many we have. I just visited Mexico on a conference of Ministers of Education for Latin America and the Caribbean, and they are so proud of their cultural heritage sites. So many that they have. And Trinidad, of course, has many as well, particularly the intangible aspects of it. And we need to move swiftly to have these represented internationally and on the world stage. Hema, you informed us about the requirements of these conventions, how best we can access them, and what mechanisms and assistance are available through UNESCO, and I saw you mention Japan giving some funding for us in this process, so that we'd be able to best benefit from signing these conventions and work towards the development of Trinidad and Tobago, thereby placing our country in the rightful place and on equal footing with other countries of the world. We possess significant and diverse culture, and as a significant producer of culture and heritage. Trinidad and Tobago is a country with a rich, diverse heritage and history and culture, has defined our world-famous tolerance, harmony, and unity. In fact, we are a model country to the rest of the world in our plural society, where there is tremendous respect and tolerance and harmony in our multicultural, multi-ethnic, and our very plural society. The government I represent, therefore, regards these discussions as a very important element to development. And we are therefore very proud and happy to have all of you distinguished stakeholders on board here this morning and for the rest of the sessions and on the same page. I wish, therefore, that these discussions be constructive, fruitful, future-driven, beneficial, with objective outcomes that will place us on the map. And let me close by expressing my appreciation, sincere appreciation to all of you as President of UNESCO in Trinidad and Tobago. I appreciate all your efforts, your presence here this morning in advance for your tremendous work that you will share this morning and in service to our country. And may we always arrive at progressive consensus with a determination of ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago is put solidly on the world map in terms of its cultural heritage, whether it's tangible or intangible. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I formally declare this session open. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. We now have a short break. We are running a little late, and Chair wants to say something.